Okay, what I first do here is I pull a little bit of my gesso and mix a little bit of water in with it, and take a little bit of the, I forgot to mention this color, that I do use raw sienna. So that's what that tube was. So take a little bit of the raw sienna and mix the raw sienna in with the gesso. And the reason I do this is because no eye is just stark white. It always has a little bit of a yellow cast to it, or blue, or whatever it's picking up, but it's never stark white, and I prefer to use that raw sienna with it. Then I take it up, and this is the point where I don't breathe, so it's really hard for me to talk and breathe at the same time and paint and do all that stuff. Again, glad I'm not chewing bubble gum. Bring a little bit in. I'll just put some other paint on the other eye here. Very careful, follow the outline. Now this is where I told you it was really important to have your eyeball as smooth as you possibly can before you actually bake it. This is where it really pays off. Okay, that's the first coat. Clean off your brush. I use a hair dryer, so that's what this noise is going to be. I use a hairdryer in between each coat like that, and it just kind of speeds the process a little. I bring a little bit more water into the palette, my colors that are already established there. Some more in here. Put another thin coat. I work in very thin washes. It's better to put on several thin washes as opposed to one or two big thick coats. Because if you put a real thick coat on, if it gets gloppy and dries halfway through, then you're stuck with this terrible bumpy mess. It's very hard to paint. So just keep thinking thin washes. Okay, coat number 2. Sometimes just for good measure, I'll put one more little coat in there. Just because I like the number 3. Okay, let me get this around here. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more of the raw sienna, just without the gesso. Mix some water in with it, just a thin little wash. And then I just kind of come in there and just sort of color around the outer edges of the eye. It just is adding a little bit of color and a little bit of shadow. When you add shadow to the top and the sides like that, it tends to give the eyeball more of a sphere look, like it's really a round eyeball in there. You're doing your kind of tricking with shadows. I love shadows. Now I'm going to paint the center eye part. What I do is I'll take a little bit of the burnt umber. And I like to have that thicker. I don't really mix water with that. Okay. Oh dear. There we go. And I get a little thick mass of it on the end of the brush.